Have you ever wondered why the majority of divorces are initiated by women? While men are often the ones trying to hold on to the marriage, what makes the two genders make such different decisions? I've been there myself. I stood at a moment where it felt like I was losing everything. My family, my children, and even myself. That feeling was both terrifying and hollow. And I know there are many people who are either going through or are afraid of that same moment I once faced. Today, we're going to explore the real reasons why women choose to leave marriage and why men resist it. This isn't just a story about separation or staying in a relationship. It's a journey of understanding ourselves, our emotions, and how to respond when facing a major life crossroads. If you're looking for answers for yourself or simply want to better understand the differences in how men and women think, stay until the end of this video. I believe you'll find something meaningful for yourself. And if you think this topic matters, please support the channel by hitting subscribe so we can continue these deeper conversations in future videos. When we talk about happiness in marriage, many believe that as long as you meet the right person, life will become easy. But the truth is, happiness doesn't come naturally. It comes from how we feel and how we choose to treat the person beside us. Think back to those early days of love. You always wanted to show up at your best well-dressed, soft-spoken, thoughtful. But once we enter marriage, we gradually become too comfortable. You leave clothes scattered and stay up late, watching TV and fall asleep on the couch. To even do things that seem harmless but make the other person feel abandoned. The issue isn't those small actions. The issue lies in thinking that marriage allows us to stop trying. We believe that once we have a marriage certificate, everything will run on autopilot, and that mindset becomes the trap. Many people who once loved passionately and promised to get through anything together eventually stop talking, stop listening, and forget that relationships require ongoing care. A small, unresolved argument becomes a crack. The cracks pile up, and the two people grow apart. Marriage isn't the end point. It's a long journey where you must continue to invest respect, love, and effort every single day. When you stop caring about your partner's feelings, you create a distance that sometimes takes years to notice. Some people only realize this when it's too late. They ask themselves, what happened? But the answer has been there all along. It's in the silent evenings, the long pauses, is the days when both just exist beside each other without truly connecting. The good news is it's never too late to realize. You can change starting today. You can return to your best self, not to hide flaws, but to honor your partner the way you did in the beginning. So what causes us to ruin our marriages, even when we once loved each other so deeply? And why does the feeling of loss affect men and women so differently when divorce is mentioned? Many assume men are indifferent or uncaring. But the truth is, most men carry a deep fear, not just fear of losing their wives, but fear of losing the entire life they were used to: the home, routines, presence of their children, and the sense of having a complete family. Imagine a man sitting alone in the living room after his wife has left. The chairs, the dining table, for the family photos are all still there, but everything suddenly feels empty. The only sound is the ticking clock. In that moment, he realizes he hasn't just lost a wife, but the rhythm of his life. Every meal, every evening, every future plan now has to change. I remember clearly the day my wife walked out the door. The click of the lock sounded simple but felt like a cut. I told her once that when this door closes, nothing will ever be the same again. I knew from that moment, we'd become two entirely different people. And it was true. Just a few years later, she called and told me it was the worst decision she'd ever made. But it was too late. I had to rebuild everything from finances to my soul. Men often fear divorce because they understand the practical consequences. They know income will be split. The house will be divided. Future plans shattered. They don't just think of themselves, they think of the kids, children who won't see both parents under the same roof. Family dinners missing someone. It's a primal fear. Many men choose to stay in unhappy marriages, not out of weakness, but because they fear watching their family fall apart. They fear the empty nights, the packing of boxes, the reality of seeing their children only a few times a week. For them, divorce isn't just a legal event, it's a storm that sweeps away everything. I once thought I could recover quickly. But the truth is, it took years to regain balance. I had to learn how to cook for myself, how to schedule time to see my children, how to live with the silence in the house. And most importantly, I had to learn how to forgive not just her, but myself. But through that process, I discovered something important. The fear of divorce can keep a man in a relationship longer, but it also traps him, preventing change, avoiding the truth that the marriage has already ended. This is why men often delay, hoping things will improve, while in reality they only get worse. And when the breakup finally happens, the shock hits them harder than they ever imagined. But fear doesn't only exist in men. Women have their own fears, but they often face them differently. So what drives them to leave? Believing a better life awaits. If men often fear divorce because of loss, many women leave because they believe they'll find happiness elsewhere. This isn't always because they no longer love their husbands. It often comes from feeling exhausted within themselves. Imagine a woman standing at the window, looking outside. She's not exactly sad, but she's thinking, there has to be more to life than this. It's a real moment many experience when work, family, and children consume everything. They feel like they're disappearing. They recall old dreams, things that once excited them, and begin to wonder, am I living the life I truly want? Women naturally seek both safety and an improved quality of life. In psychology, this is known as the tendency to choose the best possible partner, not just in looks or income, but in empathy, respect, protection, and companionship. When they feel those things are missing, they start thinking about leaving. And in the age of social media, that pressure is magnified. One scroll through their phone shows countless images of perfect families, joyful vacations, successful, beautiful, free women. Even if they know those are carefully selected moments, it's easy to compare and feel inadequate. That's when they begin to believe that happiness is out there just beyond this marriage. Some women do find freedom and growth after divorce, but many realize that loneliness, financial strain, and single parenting are harder than expected. A common mistake is thinking the problem lies entirely in their partner. They fail to see that part of the cause is their own expectations. When expectations are unrealistic, disappointment follows. And when that builds up, leaving seems like the only way out. I once heard a story about a woman who believed she'd find a more caring, understanding man after her divorce. But in reality, dating after divorce wasn't easy. New relationships quickly fell apart because old wounds hadn't healed. She admitted carrying anger and placing too much hope on someone new. That's not to say women are wrong to leave. Sometimes divorce is necessary for mental health or to escape a truly toxic relationship. But it's crucial to realize that happiness doesn't magically appear just because you change your environment. It requires inner work, emotional growth, and clear communication. And that's what many people forget. Happiness doesn't come from outside. It comes from how we choose to respond. You can change your partner, your home, in your city. But if you don't change how you think and act, you'll repeat the same cycle of disappointment. So, how do we break that cycle? How do we rebuild balance after a broken marriage? Or prevent it from collapsing in the first place? After going through the pain, the most important thing is not to stay stuck for too long. Happiness doesn't find you. It's the result of the choices you make every day. And today, we'll talk about how you can start rebuilding your life. Step 1 is taking responsibility. Even if you didn't choose the breakup, you're the only one who can choose how to respond. Don't let the past control you. Ask yourself, what do I want my future to look like? Who do I want to become? First, take care of yourself physically and mentally. Eat well, to get enough sleep. Exercise. A healthy body helps you stay clear-minded and energized to make good decisions. Second, maintain strong relationships. Connect with family, friends, those who truly offer support and listen. Don't hesitate to seek help from a therapist if needed. Third, reset your goals. Write down what you want to achieve in the next 6 months, 1 year, 5 years. Having goals gives you direction and protects you from being swept away by negative emotions. Fourth, learn to let go. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It means stopping the past from controlling your feelings. When you look back, Don't blame. See it as a lesson. What did you learn about yourself? In what ways did you become stronger? Fifth, to find joy in small things. Waking up early, a cup of good coffee, a walk with an old friend. These simple moments help you see that life still has much to love. Finally, to give yourself permission to love again, even if it's just loving yourself. There's no rush. As long as you keep moving forward each day, open to new experiences, you'll see the world is bigger, and the chances for happiness are always there. Remember, you're not defined by a marriage that ended. You're the author of your life's next chapter. Start today. Every day is a new opportunity. Every small decision takes you closer to a happier version of yourself. And the best part is you have full control over that path. We've journeyed together through fears, conflicts, and meaningful lessons. If you're in the middle of a rocky marriage or just stepped out of one, remember, this journey isn't the end. It could be a new beginning. You don't have to have all the answers right now. What you need is to give yourself time and the chance to heal and grow. Every day is a small step forward. And when you look back, you'll see just how far you've come. If what I've shared today resonates with you, leave your story in the comments. You'll be surprised how many others are going through the same thing. And maybe your story will help someone else find hope. If you found this video helpful, please support the channel by hitting subscribe and turning on notifications. That helps us continue sharing meaningful insights on love, healing, and building a happier life. We can't change the past, but we can always rewrite the future. And that future starts today. Take care of yourself. Love life. And if you can, I love again, starting with yourself.